Hey Brian,
Hello,
what's up?
hello.
Good here.
Happy Green Day.
The only thing red is Max's shirt.
You guys can hear me.
Very much
Yeah,
planned, guaranteed.
yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. I think there's a little bit delay on my end, but what is up, Twitter? Back again with another stream. Uh, I want to play this clip here off the top. Let me
And they
see.
say,
You guys can see this, right?
no, sir,
Can you guys hear me?
we can hear you, but I don't.
Yes.
Okay, cool. You can. Okay, you guys need to. Oh, okay, you
Oh,
guys can
good.
see the screen. Okay, perfect. All right.
And they say, I'm going to get back in when the future is more clear.
Yeah, I saw a tweet again by Zagabond, who's obviously the founder of Azuki. He said, "By the time it's perfect, you've missed the perfect time."
Of course.
Same
Yeah,
comment.
same thing.
Absolutely.
But my point is they believe, they believe that they know when that's going to be. And by the way, it's never clear. That's why it's fun to live. And they say,
So that was a clip from a stream a couple weeks ago from our good man Max here, talking about how it's never the perfect time to get back in. As you noticed a few weeks ago, everybody we had a lot of the biggest channels on Twitter. Not to name any names, um, but talking about how this is the time to de-risk. We're going to go to 70K, 65K. I've even saw 50K out there. And then, as you notice, within that, when sentiment got really bad, that's when you see these big candles to the upside. So, um, hope everybody's having a great day. I do want to post this really quickly in the Telegram channel. But while I do that, we're going to go ahead and start this show off. Again, I hope everybody's having an amazing day. We got about 50 people in here so far. I do see Drago, NBL, everybody on here. We do like to make this show super interactive. We will be answering your questions, chart requests, all that time when it gets to that time. But with that, how's everybody doing? Max, Rhodes, Danksy, for Loco?
great guys.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Doing great, man. It's a beautiful day to be in crypto.
Oh yeah, you said you're on the road for Loco. I appreciate you for being on here. How's the weather in Texas right now?
It's not very enjoyable. It's like 82 degrees and very humid in Houston. So, but I guess better than rain. So,
Right on, right on. As I'm posting this in the channel, we're going to get into all the good stuff today. Obviously, Bitcoin going crazy right now. We've been pretty adamant on the stream here that the worst is behind us and that likely we'd get a nice bounce here. For me, we'll be talking about exactly what we're looking at here. For me, 95K level is really important, the prior bounce high. Usually when you break above the prior bounce high, you get very high probability of going back to all-time highs. But of course, anything can happen. We'll be going over all the possibilities. We'll be talking about, we'll be talking about the trade war, NFTs going crazy the last few weeks, and so much more. We appreciate you guys for being on here. If you could like, share, retweet the stream so we can get this out to more people, be highly appreciated. But before we get into the good stuff, I do want to start with a nice little review that we do every week with our boy Rotes here to kind of go over, a little bit of what happened since we did this last stream. So, Rotes, you want to take that over, brother?
Yeah, so first off, as Brent mentioned, Bitcoin is leading all markets, really kind of decoupling from the macro markets, showing its value as a store value ultimately. And that's what's been really the primary core value, KPI, strategic selling point, all that kind of stuff when it comes to Bitcoin is that it's an ultimate store value. It's digital gold. And as gold has rallied and really taken off, Bitcoin has kind of gone with it. And we've had all of this really positive news over the last several weeks, months, years almost towards Bitcoin. And, it's finally getting a nice little rally bump here when things were really bleak overall. We tapped out and we broke that kind of downtrend that we're in, and things are looking really strong for Bitcoin. We got a new SEC chair who is favorable towards crypto. going to look towards regulations, and there's a lot more of the ETFs that are on the desk for approval and review. So that moves forward. MicroStrategy picks up another $500 million in Bitcoin. They're up to about 2.7% in holdings. They continue to accumulate. It's nerve-wracking, but it's also one of those things that is a catalyst for others to get that increased FOMO. And whether that's other organizations, whether that's state, federal, other countries, they're going to push the button and act sooner than later as we see MicroStrategy continue to accumulate, and don't want to miss out. So it is still a good catalyst and a little bit of fuel to the Bitcoin fire. Coinbase and others seek bank charter rights to be able to do the same things that our banks are doing, be able to custody, be able to get access to Fed funds, et cetera. So positive towards that. AI agent market cap is at 7 billion, up 11.42%, really led by the monster that is Farcoin over the last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, where it's been really moving. NFTs volumes are up a bit. Punks are up 4.7% on the last 24 hours, up to 43 ETH. Ethereum is also up a bit here in the last 24 hours, so kind of a double win. Good Vibes Club up 15%, actually at an all-time high here today. And so you see that rally again, NFTs at post launch, etc. You look for that, kind of 3 week mark. And then after that, if they're still successful and still get a bump, that's really the ultimate time to pile in. I said back then, you might be missing out early on Good Vibes Clubs, but you want to find a great project versus the great deal. And Good Vibes Clubs is kind of showing its ability to hold value beyond that mark. So it's starting to rally a bit here. Befriend Series 2 also up 15% in the last 24 hours. But in general, seeing a bit of bounce across NFTs in a few pockets here. Still struggle on the USD dollar value due to ETH. But as ETH moves up, the values that we pegged last week, those values aren't going to be there much longer. In terms of meme coins, as I mentioned, Farcoin leading the way, up 19%, almost 20% in the last 24 hours, up to just over $1 billion. Still far from its all-time high, up 30% in the last 7 days. Really moves and leads the way when it comes to meme coins. Bonk up 15%. Farcoin had briefly passed Bonk here earlier today. Bonk is now still leading Farcoin a little bit here, up 18% in the last week. Popcat up 26% today, 32% on the week, and Pengu
Let's
up
go.
18% today, 28% on the week. So
Let's go.
these some really good
I'm still
rally
waiting for that
bounces.
bet that Brent and I have on Popcat in Giga. So
Yeah.
we can discuss it later, but keep going, Rhodes. Sorry.
No worries. And then the other one that was I think really interesting, and I alluded to it on Tuesday as I was away Friday, but on Tuesday I talked about how Bitcoin 100K was at 6%, and though 100K felt like a real stretch, didn't seem like a breakout and a rally was too non-probabilistic. Well, that's up over 3%, or sorry, 3x from there. And the way prediction markets work is, especially on something that has some real volume, so you can get in a position of size and get a bit of a leverage bet there, and you can move in and out without necessarily getting liquidated. So something to consider, especially on these shorter time horizon bets towards crypto and price action and things like that. But that is up to a 17% probability by month's end. And 70K is now down 19% over the last week plus to a 2% probability. So real big sentiment shift when it comes to crypto. 92K kind of is a bit of a pretty heavy level there. Kind of feels like things are a little bit frothy at the moment. Maybe due for a bit of a pullback, but when it comes with Bitcoin, these moves can be pretty violent over a short few days. So trading intraday right now is kind of risky that way. That's the update.
Right on. Amazing review, brother. Really appreciate it. Crazy to see the Bitcoin 100K at 17%. What is that for April? It's It's 10 days away, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess I have some thoughts, and we can discuss on the what you mentioned last, Rhodes, around Bitcoin being frothy a little bit. If you consider it, Bitcoin as kind of like the digital goal.
Real quickly, do you want to share my screen really quick so I can pull up the chart?
Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah.
No, because the reason I'm thinking is like short term, yes, I am concerned about the amount of leverage longs I've been seeing on chain. So perhaps we're definitely due for a pullback. But if you consider the rally that gold has been having for the last 4 or 5 months, technically, I think a lot of investors are finally seeing Bitcoin as the alternative, right? And completely decoupling from S&P and Nasdaq, which is what we all wanted since the beginning of our history here, buying digital assets. But I'm not sure that this stops here short term. Maybe we retest that 84, 85K, but I don't think we go lower than that. And I'm seeing much higher levels here in the next few weeks. I don't know if you guys feel the same
You're
way.
not totally off base there, Fur. It really could be, a tipping point where, enough minds are now on board that Bitcoin really is that gold, and buy Bitcoin more so for value store than, the speculative asset. And once it becomes that, then you really see it move and gain a bit of stability, especially when there's a little bit of chaos in the macro environment.
Yeah,
Curious to
and
hear
we're
what
seeing two
Brendan
things.
and
We're seeing
Max
two
are.
things. We're seeing like global liquidity going up, right? M2, and then gold prices go up. So I think those two are factors that really play in favor for Bitcoin,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
absolutely, and for sure. And I really want to hear from Mike here. We've been talking, a lot about, staying patient and stuff here. For me, I think Bitcoin, one of two scenarios are likely here. Of course, very impulsive candle here on the weekly chart. When I say impulse, really what I mean is pretty much every market, not to go too far into it, every single asset is in one of three phases at any given time. Either it's impulsing, which is a big extended move to the upside or downside. It's correcting, which is meaning like a pullback or a cool off period, or a peak, which is a top or bottom. All three of them have distinct characteristics. To me, this has been an obvious correction on Bitcoin specifically, with a corrective behavior, kind of lack of consolidation up top, looking a lot like the summer of 2024. Obviously, ETH and Sol look a little bit different, but as we know, people who have been around for a little bit now know that Bitcoin drives the entire market, especially the last few years. Can you guys mute your mic and make sure to have notifications off? But we, you know, every time, when Bitcoin comes out of these corrections, so do ETH and Sol. But I think Bitcoin does one of two things here. It either continues to the upside. We're starting another impulse right here, like as you saw in September of 2024, where we just pushed to new all-time highs straight from here, straight green candles. Or scenario two, again, we could see a higher or lower high, and one more possible low down in the 60s. But again, if you've been on these streams, you know that we've been really adamant that whether it's it from here, 2 weeks from now, a month from now, we just need to let this thing play out. And over the long term, 6 months plus, Bitcoin's going way higher. But if you were to get that second low here, or that last low here, that would be the time to load up on everything. But with how impulsive this is looking, I don't know if we get that. For me, one more thing, that's why the prior bounce high here at what's it called, 95K is so important, because I could show you a bunch of charts here. Usually when it breaks that prior bounce high, closes above it with a lot of impulsive candles, almost always do you go straight back to all-time highs here. But I think generally we just need to stay patient. Now, Max, you've been talking on these streams here. And again, welcome here, Max. For those of you guys don't know, Max here, been on the streams here for about a month or two now. Guy has, as you can see from his bio here, 40 years of traditional finance experience. A lot of people have been investing for a long time, but this guy has been at the highest level, managing, hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever, for people, been on all the biggest news stations. And he's here on these streams every single week with us, just trying to help people, one, get a grip and kind of see this vision that he has for the new world where traditional finance is kind of shift on chain into this new world of crypto. So we're super blessed to have him on here. Max, I know usually when we talk about Bitcoin and in all of this. It's not in terms of price or any of that. Usually it's whether people are, paying attention or hating this rally. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen here, but kind of what are you seeing here? Do you think people are hating this rally too much? Is there too many people close to the flame? Or, I mean, what are you seeing here?
Well, I think it's got a lot of attention. That doesn't usually help you a lot, but I think this is going to be so overpowering that might not matter. I'd like you to imagine for a second that you are a baseball fan, and let's say you're a Yankees fan and you're playing Boston today, which is always a fun game. And it's Saturday morning, and you're thinking about maybe possibly getting the family together and get to the game this afternoon, maybe. But you're going to have breakfast first. That's where we are in this rally. In other words, we're so early it shouldn't even be called a rally yet. The force that's going on in the system is going to shock people, and what's going to happen is they're going to sell their Bitcoin and think they're very fortunate to have captured a $12,000 rally. And then it's going to go on to rally 500 grand. I was on phone with a client last night, helping him understand the difference between now and a couple years from now. And I said it this way. I said, Jack, listen, you got $2 million to commit to Bitcoin right now. And your question to me was, I have $2 million of my money and I'd like to invest it in Bitcoin. So I said, you've got that turned around and everybody else is going to figure that out. It's not about your money going into Bitcoin. It's about what is your money worth in Bitcoin. And that kind of shook him a little bit. And I said, let me tell you what I mean by that. I said, right now, if you believe this is a good idea, you're going to get about 23 tokens for your $2 million. But if you don't think it's a good idea right now, in a few years, you and I are going to talk some more, and you're going to say, hey, I'm ready with that $2 million of my money to invest in Bitcoin. And I'm going to say, that's fantastic. The good news is today, your $2 million is worth 4 Bitcoin. And what you're not going to recognize is that's the first time you're really going to understand what's happening to money. And one more thing, the guy who talked to me 3 years ago when he had $2 million and I told him that he could get 23 Bitcoin, he has $12.5 million now. And that's the thing that people don't get. See, they're not understanding the paradigm shift. It's a once in a century event. And all the chatter about, is it 68 or 74 or 83 or 91 or 116? All these are tiny little dots on a very, very big chart. It's like if you were to be given a chart of the Dow Jones at 43,000 and told to find 901 on it when I started in the business. It would be very difficult to find that chart. But back when it was 901, a 5 or 10 point move was huge. People couldn't believe that kind of move. And look at it today.
Absolutely. And I kind of want to touch on that. We've talked about it on past streams, but we have a lot of new users every stream. You talk about this once in a century event. Do you mind talking a little bit about, how you see the vision of us being the equivalent of where the Dow was in 1982, and kind of in short, a little bit of your vision for crypto entering the two worlds kind of converging?
Sure. Well, it's kind of like part of what I just explained. If you've been paying attention to crypto on crypto Twitter for the last, 24 months, you would think in your mind that this is all encompassing and everybody's in it and it's the whole world and it might already be over, like our friend Cole, who flipped today. Um, the
Ansem.
well, I wasn't sure I should say it.
It's all
Uh, the issue is, this is the beginning dot in the grand scheme of things. When we're all chatting on stream number 5,840 and it's 10 years from now, you're not going to remember $112,000 high. You won't remember it, and here's why: we won't talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin prices anymore. We will by then probably be talking about Bitcoin in 0.0001 increments, meaning your real goal is to make sure your Bitcoin ownership definition is on the left side of the decimal. Okay, you want it on the left side of the decimal, because most of the world is going to be on the right side of the decimal. That's how big this is. This is all encompassing, and slowly but surely people will figure that out. As to how it sort of takes over the whole world, is everything will change as to what we call an asset. Today, for example, someone looks at their stock portfolio and they see 400 shares of this and 312 shares of that and 15 shares of this and 476.3 shares of that. And in the future, they're going to see just a token. And they're going to own digitized levels of the token. In other words, instead of owning 4,000 shares of Procter & Gamble, they're going to own 0.000012 of the token. The token, meaning the one thing that represents all the shares of Procter & Gamble.
Wait, so you're saying that even with the stocks, they'll be measured in whatever of wow,
Yes.
that's incredible. I haven't really thought about that before.
Everything will. In fact, Ren, I know you probably don't remember this, but this is exactly what I described in the first DM I ever sent you.
I remember a lot of what you were saying, man. Yeah, you did lay out a lot of this that we're talking about on this stream, and it's just crazy. Absolutely, that's insane. So you're saying that people won't even say I have 10 shares of Procter & Gamble; they'll say I have point card of the token.
Yeah, I'm a token owner in P&G.
That's incredible. I didn't really thought about that. So that's not just tokenizing the stock itself, but it's changing the actual whole structure of the asset.
The whole function of the financial system.
That is amazing.
So
Now,
why would you do that? Well, because that means that Procter & Gamble that would then be an asset that can be traded 24 hours a day from any point on the planet. And that's not what our stock market has done. So it will become a bigger, more fluid ocean of money instead of limited by country.
yeah, so I've seen some. That's a great point. I saw somebody in this Discord I was talking about yesterday, and I was telling him, the amount of block space demand that is going to be made up of like the casino of meme coins is going to be so small compared to tokenized stocks and bonds and all these things. And he pushed back and saying, "Oh, I don't know why we even need tokenized stocks. Like, why?" And I told him it's not just about decentralization; it's about efficiency. Kind of like you were saying. Would you say that's the biggest thing? Like people could be able to trade it 24/7. That's like the biggest reason.
Well, I mean, think of it this way. In a world of high-speed humanoid robots, why in the fuck are we pushing paper around to buy stocks?
Yeah, that's
why would that actually be happening like it is? Change. Look, we've been telling our clients this for about 5 years now. Every single thing is going to change, including our money. Every single thing is going to change. Now, you can fight it. Another thing I told the gentleman last night, I said, Bob, you can, by the way, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree that your $2 million today is worth 23 Bitcoin. I want you to understand though that there's two kinds of people that'll own Bitcoin. And he said, well, what do you mean two kinds of people? And I said, there's the kind of person that chose to convert their old money to the new money, or there's the person that's going to be forced to convert your old money to new money. And by the time you're forced, it won't be anything like 4 Bitcoin for your $2 million.
No, I mean, people have been talking about mass adoption for a long time. Do you think we're just going to see accelerate pretty quickly here?
We're going to see it the way human nature works all the time. Very, very slowly, and then all at once.
So you're telling me this is the all at once phase then?
No. This is not even close to the all.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
the all at once is going to be, if I had to guess, the all at once is going to be the high $1.8 million, $2 million trigger, and then it's going to be overwhelming.
Okay, awesome. I want to take this time. I do want to not, we do see your guys' questions. I want to answer a few questions related to what we're talking about right now. While we do that, if you guys could please retweet, like, comment on the stream, get this out to more people. We really appreciate you guys being on here. Already 500 views or viewers, whatever, in 30 minutes. Great. That's probably the best pace we've ever had. We really appreciate you guys for being on here. I see you, Justin. It says forced to change money, 100%. Every single thing is going to change to digital. Yeah, absolutely. Said Brent, how long do you think this current Bitcoin pump can last before a correction? Again, like we were talking about here previously. Here, let me go back to.
Can I say something real quick?
Of course.
Try in your mind to get rid of the crypto Twitter terminology.
Yeah.
Try to end the use of pump, and those words don't help you. They don't help you frame what's going on. They don't help your mind understand what's happening, and they certainly don't prepare you for the opportunity ahead. Pump tells your mind that this is just temporary, and soon it's going to be going back down. And if you think that way, guess what? That's all you will see. You will see exactly what you think. And you got to stop that if you want to help yourself. You got to stop the limiting set of structures that this damn CT stuff permeates in your mind. You've got to find a way to ignore it, or you won't see anything like what's coming.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I can second that. I mean, just especially this last year, obviously we know that most people can't be right or else everybody would be making money. But just the fact of how not only wrong the crowd can be, but destructive and toxic and just getting you on the complete opposite side of where your mind should be. So I 100% second that with Max. Twitter's great to connect with people. I've met some of the greatest people in my life through Twitter, but at the same time, it's also can serve to distract you. I think it's really important to think bigger and think of not just right now, this small 10,000 people on crypto Twitter, but when this vision of what Max is talking about, where the entire world is in crypto Twitter, where traditional finance people are coming and all that, just to think bigger. But to quickly answer your question, to reiterate, yeah, like Max said, it's important just not to focus so much on every little price move. But to me, who knows, man? Like I said, 95K, I'm watching that level. But even that's not like some magical level or anything. It's just probability wise, when we break those prior bounce highs, usually it keeps going. But again, it could break this and then go down one more time. We don't break all-time highs until we break all-time highs, and really we shouldn't focus so much on the fucking day-to-day anyway. But let me see. I want to get to the chat, like I was saying, before we move on. Question: will Bitcoin? Okay, we already saw that. Strongly agree with you, Max. Brent, how long do you think? Okay, yeah, it's the same question. I saw a few more up here. So Tesla shares can be tokenized. Yes.
Yes.
Buy more Bitcoin. The world would become digital. Yeah. So much hype on Sol, all of X. Max, what's your thoughts on Sol against ETH?
I think they'll both go very high,
Good answer.
but
Yeah.
I don't. Again, I don't. Again, try. I'm going to sound boring to a lot of people, I'm sure, but try to try to not pit these things against each other. Right?
Exactly.
Is it going to be this one or this one? It's going to be all of them. It's
Yeah.
gonna-
Exactly.
but the point is it's going to be different times. You
Yep.
know, everything doesn't dance every day,
Exactly.
but all of them are going to dance.
I
Uh,
love.
you can't grade this stuff. In a paradigm shift, nothing will make sense to whatever you thought before. That's why it's called a paradigm shift. Everything changes. So the reason there's a definition of paradigm shift is because it's like nothing you saw before, right? It's a complete shift. So trying to get your mind using your previous theories and themes and the way you structured and viewed things, you will always be against the grain. It will always be fooling you.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so let the game unfold. This game is going to be the biggest game the last three generations have seen.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I would say trying to this tribalism, ETH versus Sol, it only like serves to like feed people's like social needs. It's pointless. Like Max said, not only are these things going to go way higher over time, but I do ascribe to that as well. They dance at different times, well, meaning not only are they going to move at different times, but you can capitalize. Um, you know, by these different moving at different times. But yeah, I think ETH and Sol are both going higher over time. It's just best to have a not only a bag of ETH and Sol, but I think a lot of these L1s, like Max is saying, throw a dart at the top 50, especially the 5, 10, top 10 L1s are going to do very well. So yeah, you asked like another follow up, Justin, like what's going to flip Sol versus ETH. I think our point is here. Who knows, man? I think having it's going to be ETH and Sol. Both of them are going way higher. Trying to guess which one's going to flip which, it's just a guessing game. So,
I have another data point that is interesting to talk about, and it's not
wait,
related to
Max,
crypto.
before we move on, Max, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say one more thing. We don't talk about it much, but I'll tell you one of the movers that's going to surprise people is Tau,
Yeah, yeah.
TAO, BitTensor. So don't forget that one. It's still very cheap.
Yeah, we were talking about the interview with Barry Silbert and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Raul, which is a great interview. I actually watched the
yeah.
rest of that last night after Max had brought it
Yeah.
up. Great interview. And you were saying what Max about? He said that's like maybe the one that could have a Bitcoin type move.
They obviously have a big position, so they're talking their book. But this is a fundamental L1 that is able to structure the very same kinds of activity. And believe me, when the dance is where it's going, uh, we're going to need more than one Bitcoin. we're we're going to need more than one platform that can do what Bitcoin does. Uh, you're gonna end up with sister platforms, and the shocker might be that you see BitTensor at $50,000 while everybody's waiting for Bitcoin to triple.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, no, and I mean, just chart wise, again, it's just secondary to kind of everything you're saying. It does look very corrective over the last few months, kind of in this little corrective like structures that I like with bounces. To me, this tells me that like sell pressure is kind of drying up. Obviously, this is a huge correction here, but the fact we're coming out of this channel, kind of level for me, again, this is just chart wise a little bit of probability stuff. If it were to close above that $400 and $500 high, probably a very good chance it doesn't come back down again. But again, if we're zooming out in 1 or 2 years, who gives a fuck if it comes down again or not? I agree. Chart wise, plus with the whole AI narrative, Tao seems to be the leader overall and does have that funding and backing by these big names like Grayscale and Silbert. So,
Right,
before
write these initials down. BTFD.
BTFD, buy the fucking dip, man. There we go, baby. There we go. I do want to move on, and for look, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother. I just wanted to make sure that we could finish Max could finish his thought. What were you saying?
Well, since you guys brought up Tao, I have some thoughts about it. Like, obviously, tokenomics wise is not really the best token, but we already know things like XRP
Well, real
and
quickly, I want to touch on that. What about the tokenomics do you view as whatever? I haven't really looked at them, to be honest.
no, I mean, like if you guys look at the FTB of Tao right now, it's over 7 billion already, right? So it's actually top 32 token in terms of FTB. Now it's definitely going down. Barry Silver has talked about it, so there's a lot of VCs behind it. But then again, in crypto, really the only ones that really care about tokenomics are people that actually are crypto native. Most people outside of crypto don't even look at those things, right? They just look at the ability of a token to go up in price. And Tao, more than an AI company, what they are is a chain that rewards their users pretty much for utilizing the chain, right? So I see there's a lot of incentives there. Do I think is the best AI project out there? No, but I do think it's backed by very strong PCs, and again, as I mentioned, it has the ability to pump because if you look at the supply and the supply of Tau is not really the cleanest that you would like to own. Like for instance, like one that you would definitely want to own, given the strength, not AI related, but it's hyper liquid. That's kind of like fair launch. Tau was also fair launch, but when it comes to tokenomics, is a little bit more attractive. But
Could you
but I
argue?
was yeah. Go
You could
ahead.
argue really quickly before you finish that thought that these AI like coins with real tech, right? Like this is a coin that has real tech behind it. Can you argue that maybe one of the coins that does need VC funding? Because obviously, if it's a meme coin or something that doesn't have like infrastructure or something that needs to be worked on like that, of course, why would you need to do that? But I think maybe there's a few coins out there that do actually need the VC funding, which is just to keep it going or whatever, and that fair launch might not make sense. Or what do you say to that?
No, I mean it's very possible. And again, things don't really need to particularly make sense when it comes to tokenomics to
Yeah,
pump. Like look at XRP, Cardano, all these are terrible tokenomics, and they have the ability to pump very fast. So. I mean, again, the FDB of Tau is already 7 billion, which I think it's 2 times or 3 times render or something like that, or around. So, when it comes to comparables to other AI tokens, I think it's pretty high. But again, this is a pretty BC, what I call BC friendly token, which means that if you have a few groups that believe in the tech, regardless of the tokenomics, this is gonna go ballistic for sure. So I don't disagree on that end. But when it comes to tokenomics, I particularly look at other tokens that are a little bit more, you know, more I would say equitable, right? Or that investor friendly
yeah.
versus like tokens that are fully controlled by teams or a small group. But then again, it doesn't really matter in crypto many times. It's just more about the ability to go
Yeah.
up or down in price. So
Absolutely. Frenzy asking another great question. How do you differentiate between a correction and a long-term bear market? Again, everybody looks at stuff differently, but for me, that's an amazing question, actually. I'm not going to go too far into it. I actually made a video the other week that I'm getting edited that will go a little bit more into that. But for me, it's about the impulsivity of the move. Like this is a correction that has bounces, choppy behavior. To me, that's corrective behavior where if instead we were to come out of this correction and we would have gone from 100K straight down to 60 with 3 red candles, kind of like we did in 2021 here, where it was just straight down from 60 to 30, just in a very impulsive red candles, all red candles with a little bounce here, then that would have been a different story. But to me, we came down here, started chopping, made this bounce. To me, that's corrective behavior. So shortly answer your question without going too much into it, it's really the impulsivity of the move itself, and does it display corrective behavior with these channel like structures or just choppiness. But that's the way I look at it. That's actually an amazing question, man. Question: what about XRP? Many people say that XRP will pump to 300. Is that correct? We've been pretty adamant on this stream that maybe what Max said a little bit, but there may be a connection with the banks or some kind of connection with the banks and XRP, even if it doesn't become the world reserve currency like a lot of these cult members like to think. maybe $10 plus is probably pretty conservative in a world where crypto kind of takes over. Would you say, Max?
I was just going to add something to that question about a bear market.
Yep.
I just wrote a long note for all of our clients last week. And what I showed them was the fear levels that are currently in the market, no matter which category you check the sentiment figures on, whether it's institutions, whether it's asset managers, whether it's advisors, and finally, whether it's the public, their clients. Every single one of those categories, every single one was at the worst readings they've been in 40 years. Now, why do I point that out? If you are currently more afraid of the stock market or anything related to investing than you were after 8 months of straight down between August of '08 and March of '09, after the United States Federal Reserve had to step in and basically save the entire global economy, after we lost two of the largest insurance companies in the world, four of the largest investment banks on Wall Street, and four of the top 15 banks in the United States. If you are more afraid, then after all of that happened, when the Dow reached a low of 6,700, then I'm guaranteeing you we are not in a bear market. We are in a full-fledged panic that's completely irrational, will erase itself so fast people's heads will spin as soon as an announcement is made that this fake tariff war is over.
Yep, for sure. And again, somebody asked a great question a few weeks ago that whether we're going to get like a V-shaped recovery, and Max had said he probably, it's likely, or we might get like some kind of hybrid between the V-shaped and some bit of chop, but likely revolving around that, trade war announcements, China, all that, which we will get into that. But yeah, I think for me, again, very similar to, whether we chop it a little bit or not. I made a tweet a few weeks ago that just like COVID, in 2020 for a few weeks, everybody panicked. Everybody was panic selling, and then obviously it led to the biggest. I don't know if it's the biggest bull period in stock history, but obviously equity history. But like a massive move. I think very similar things going to happen here again. Whether what happens in the next few weeks, who fucking knows? But I think over a year, 6 month year period, we're going to get a similar type result here. So I did have a few more comments before I want to move on. Amazing questions from here, guys. I appreciate it. Brent, are there any layer twos you think are undervalued here? For me, there's been a lot of talk around the layer twos. A lot of these ETH devs and stuff who were super heavy on the L2 kind of being the where all crypto activity or all Ethereum activity was going to be. A lot of them are going back to now that maybe we do need to scale the layer one. Who knows? From what I understand, again, I'm not a tech expert, just from watching a lot of interviews from people who, are experts, that I think it will be a bit of a hybrid model that a lot of people, some people will be using the main chain, layer one. But with that being said, that the layer twos, with how much, like Max is saying, how many people are going to be coming into crypto, tokenized stocks, bonds, that the L2s also will be, used a lot of block space demand to go around. So with that being said, the L2 tokens, especially where they're at right now, I still really like Optimism, Arbitrum, ZK Sync even. I still think that's going to be a big narrative going on. And I would just add it to your DCA of like higher cap alts, if that's what you're doing. And then one more question. How do you assess whether, okay, we already went over that. What do you look at to know an exit pump? It's just best to take, when you're talking alts or memes, just take profits on the way up so you don't have to guess the exit pump. With that being said, let me go over to, let's just actually go ahead and do a quick reset of the room. If you guys are on here, really appreciate you for being on. Right now, so far, we've been talking about a number of things, answering some questions, talking about this most recent Bitcoin move, kind of where crypto is heading, like this transition that Max is saying, where crypto is kind of going to absorb everything. We appreciate you for being on here. We do these streams twice a week, Tuesday, like today, at 1 p.m. PST, and then a little bit earlier on Fridays at 10 a.m. PST. We've been continuing to do these streams throughout the ups and downs. Been very adamant. I mean, not to whatever, but one of the only streams I've seen out there, maybe the only one that's consistently, preach this narrative of staying optimistic and letting this thing play out. So for those of you who have been on here with us, we really appreciate you. New people appreciate you as well. We're going to continue to do these streams. Have great interviews, improving the entertainment value. So again, make sure to have push notifications on so you don't miss a stream. And like I said, my friend Max here, go ahead and check out his Twitter. He's been active the last few weeks, growing pretty nicely here. Got a lot of good stuff. A lot of, like we're talking about today with the decimal points. Look for more content from his channel. So definitely give him a follow. Check out his YouTube channel. And we're actually Team 6 Crypto. If you haven't heard this name yet, you will soon. Again, this is a little bit of a movement or a brand. I won't say too much yet, but that we're building the biggest, baddest gang in crypto. So definitely look out for that. You can follow the YouTube channel for now, but we'll have a page, a YouTube channel, TikTok, all that here set up soon. We appreciate you guys for being on here. Like I said, shoot Max follow as well as for Loco, Danksy, Rotes. We've been doing these streams for a long time now. It's been great to see it grow, and we're just getting started. So for Loco, you want to go ahead and talk a little bit about what you guys got going on lately, or anything else you want to share? Is he still here with us?
Take your mic.
All right, yeah, he might be out, but if he wants to pop back in, either way, Bridge 3 Labs is an NFT.
I can take over, Brad.
Go ahead, brother.
Bridge 3 Labs, we have a collection of 1,000 PFP NFTs. Started long time ago, basically, in crypto terms, in like 2021, 2022. Mostly just a collection of investors, builders, and basically traders looking for the best place to place capital. We do a lot of like educational content, same as you guys on your Telegram. Talk about what moves we're making. We played the Memecoin cycle with you guys as well, and then also the AI cycle. Got in early on with and Pepe, and basically traded that within our Discord and in our Telegram. So we do a lot of our communications both in Twitter and then also in Discord. So if you want to join us, easiest way is probably just to get on our Twitter and click some links there. But we're a pretty tight knit group of basically traders and people looking for alpha here.
Amazing. Hell yeah. And then what was I about to fucking say something? I'll remember in a second, but somebody asked a great question. Max, I want to ask you, what inspired you to name your X Team 6 or Team Crypto 6 or Team 6 Crypto? Are you in any team of 6?
Yeah, right. Well, actually, it comes from a mix of two things. My entire family above me was in the military. All the males. My great grandfather, my great uncle, in fact, my great uncle died on Normandy Beach, and his white cross is sitting in their version of the military burial ground. I was named after him, but my dad was a commander of a nuclear sub. My grandfather was on a battleship. I was born in Hawaii because my dad was stationed at Pearl Harbor. Two of my good friends who have lost their lives in service were SEAL Team 6 members. And I just have a special feeling about all those guys, and that's where the name came from. You there?
I need to quit forgetting to unmute myself, man. I was talking to myself for 10 seconds again. But no, yeah, that's an amazing answer. And I'm sure a lot of people are wondering that. So great question, Justin. You're asking amazing questions today too. Reach 700 viewers. Yeah, hell yeah. It's amazing to see this many people on right now. Big Bren, can I get a follow back? Yeah, for sure, brother. I got you. Wow, that was amazing, Max. Family over everything. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. I know not much going on lately. Of course, we got to let this thing play out. But a little bit from China today of what we've been talking about on the streams. A lot of stuff playing out with let's see, China today in the U.S. The U.S. saying that fuck, I forgot, found it, but pretty much how China and the deals are going along smoothly.
Well, Besant reported, and it was a breaking news, just like we said. It was a breaking news red banner on CNBC. Secretary Besant stated that in the next few days, very positive news would be heard between China and the U.S. on negotiations. So it's going to unfold exactly like we said here.
That's actually, I want to go ahead and play the clip really quick
Yeah.
so we can see exactly how it went down. Let's see. Logo chat. Let me get the media up here. I think this is it.
Now, Max, do you see them again? See this as
Yeah, let me see here. Okay. Let me pull up the screen here now. Let's do entire screen. I believe this is the one. Let's see.
now, Max, do you see them again? See this as further posturing from China to kind of make them seem powerful to their country, or what do you make of comments like this? Yeah, well, it's chatter because on the weekend, unfortunately, there's 5,000 places that are going to quote or misquote what China says. Yeah. Sunday morning, Xi Jinping was quoted in the China Times saying, "We implore President Trump to reduce the tariffs against China. We are open for discussion." Look, China's strength ended when they came back with their response last week. It was weak. Everybody knew it. That's why the market rallied. If that was their shot, then this is just a matter of time. And all the chat that you're hearing makes zero difference because what you're not hearing is what's going on behind the scenes. And that's where we will see, I don't know if it's this week or 3 weeks from now, there will be a headline flashing across CNBC in that red flag saying breaking news. And the deal will be something like, and I'm guessing here, China and the U.S. reach a historic trading agreement. Both agree to drop all tariffs and expand trading between the two countries. And then it will give all the credit to Xi Jinping.
Yeah, I think that's about it. And I mean, that's pretty much what you just said and what's kind of going down right now, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful to see. Yeah, we got to let this play out. I'd imagine, like Max said, if there is a deal straight out that they just announce out of nowhere, uh, likely see assets fucking fly. With Bitcoin already doing this, that would be crazy timing and probably like you said, a train that doesn't stop straight from here. Too much momentum. Let me see here. Let me go ahead and go back to sharing my screen normally. I do want to see the chat. Trump just can't shut up. Yeah, I think too many people are focusing on Trump's comments too much and giving them too much weight as if what he says is going to keep the markets down forever. But let me see. Chrome, Bitcoin, Chrome. Okay, perfect. Now, so yeah, that's pretty much all from the trade war right now. We're just kind of, I did see that it's just this week that they're negotiating directly with like 30 countries. I don't know what the difference is between the 100 countries or whatever from last week, but obviously progressing. Now,
Well, it just means you can't talk to 130 people at once. They're doing it in stages.
that makes sense. So probably doing a tranche trend or like a group of 30 this week or whatever, but
Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D.
makes sense. For Loco, are we going to say something, brother? Maybe I'm hearing things. Did he ever come back? Oh, he lost connection. No worries, he's off. But yeah, another thing too. I shared a. I guess I should be sharing the entire screen. But the other week, Max was talking about last week about some of the alts that he's been buying as well. I made a post in the Telegram this week. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but obviously, a lot of you already are. But definitely check out the Telegram channel. Let me see. Oh, why is this not loading? That's weird. Hold on one second. Okay. Either way, it's not working. But this link, Bossman calls official. Obviously, that's where I spend a lot of my time in. That's where you'll find my full write ups on certain stuff, trade ideas, kind of the videos on charts that I'm going to put out here soon, different tips and tricks and stuff that I've learned over my 9 years in trading, as well as my partner Bossman focuses a lot on the more meme coin side and some of the newer meme coin stuff, but has some other great insight as well. So definitely check us out there. We've gone from I think like 300 members 18 months ago to 40,000 now. Obviously, great trade ideas, people making money. But the biggest thing is we focus a lot on education and having talks with the community and stuff like that, kind of like we're doing on these streams. So definitely check that out as well. And yeah, before I just wanted to do that before I forgot. But yeah, let me make sure I share my screen real quick. Sorry. Um, let's see, entire screen. I want to go through this real quickly. I just want to go through, I've obviously been buying a lot of the, memes that I talk about, the Giga SPX MOGs, because I do think meme coins are going to, at least the strong ones, have a resurgence. It'll remain a place where a lot of the newer people come into crypto first and then branch off to Bitcoin and all these different things. But what I found from talking to great minds like Max and others, that the new people that are coming into crypto are going to uh, see this new world of crypto similar to the way they sell stocks, right? And this is something I heard directly from Max on the stream. That the whoever that is, you mind muting? I think that's you, Danksy. Please mute the mic. Um, um, Sorry, that's really loud. But the we're like the newer world, the newer people coming in from traditional finance are going to view crypto like they do the old world, with high caps, low caps, mid caps. They're not just going to touch memes and Bitcoin like we've seen the last few years. A lot of these like alts with actual utility technology, AI, some of the stuff we're talking about are really going to have a run. So I kind of wanted to just show you some of the alts that I've been buying. A few of them that Max mentioned on the last stream, just heavy in DeFi, AI, and stuff like gaming, because I think especially those first two are going to be where a lot of that institutional capital flows to. So just Tau, like we were talking about on this stream, Super, which is Superverse, Link, HBAR, a lot of these. We'll obviously be updating as these coins go on, but I would just implore you, even if you're, you know, just dabble in memes. Going into the future, it's not just going to be memes and Bitcoin only. A lot of these more utility based coins are going to do well. And not only are they going to do well, but they're at very great discounts right now with nobody really paying attention. And like we said, that's usually the time to add. So, Max, any newer alts that you've been adding to this week, or kind of just the same, ones on Coinbase? Max, I don't know if you heard me. Can you hear me? I think he froze.
Sorry about I unfortunately I muted myself. You're right, I did freeze, didn't I?
Yeah, it's all good. We can hear you.
In any event, I haven't bought anything new, but I have been continuing to buy all the way down. If it dips again, I'm going to buy some more.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's see who's still with us. Is that? I think he already muted it. But yeah, let's see here. Next on the agenda, I do want to go over NFTs here at the end. But who's Max? Is that feedback coming from you?
No, I got nothing going on here.
Thanks. Is that you, bro?
No, I've been muted the whole time.
Yeah, everyone's muted. There's just a bit of feedback coming back, but it doesn't show
Yeah, where's that coming
how
from?
or where.
That's probably killing our viewers' ears here. So I want to fix that really quick. I think it's gone now, but like the market will explode. Tariff war is hitting China bad. I don't know if you've answered my question. Yeah, we'll look at Botify here in a second, bro. For those who sold at 74K bottom due to tariff fears, any lesson from that experience now that Bitcoin's at 91K? Actually,
Yeah, don't do it again.
there you go. Patience. Yeah, we'll look at Spotify, bro. The question: will Meta NFT become extinct, bro? I miss Meta NFT. I'm not sure. I don't know too much about Meta NFT. Roach, you know what that is?
Sorry, I missed that. What was that?
He asked. He said the question: will Meta NFT be extinct? I miss Meta NFT. Maybe he just means the NFT Meta.
NFT Meta, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll go over that in a second, but I do think that not only are we going to see a crypto kind of quote unquote super cycle here where we continue up for years, but with corrections in the middle, but I do think NFTs are going to have a run here. We'll go over here that in just a second here, Domsky. Great question. If you want to make it in this space, you must be patient. Absolutely. I put out this tweet here today before we move on, just talking about how a lot of the biggest accounts before preaching that, the de-risk at 74K because of all the reasons in the book, the tariffs, the potential recession, fucking this, that, and the other. But every single time that Bitcoin is corrected like this, whether it's a bear market or just a correction like we're seeing now, it's remaining optimist has not only been the smart thing to do, but been very lucrative, especially in the meme coins and stuff like that. And those who obsess about like all the headlines and every price move usually get knocked off the train, which again, what we've been talking a lot about these streams, that most people before these corrections end, almost always what happens is exactly what we're seeing now over the last few weeks. We get these lot of chop, a lot of people are freaking out, and then all of a sudden people get lulled to sleep. People aren't paying attention anymore. You see the activity go down on Twitter, and then all of a sudden you bottom and go up here. So most people get knocked off the train. But I mean, if you're looking at this now, this is your first cycle. I would implore you to learn from this now. Don't go through another correction that we're inevitably going to have. Like Max says, we're probably going to go to 200 and then correct back to 170. People will freak out just the same. But this next time, hopefully, you're able to see the not be fearful and that it's only up here for crypto. Bitcoin, there's no going back now. So let's see here. Don't want to do that. As long as there's not anything in the chat, I want to. Okay, let's see. If you want to make it in the space, yes. Selling because of FUD will make you lose a lot. Absolutely. Great questions in the chat. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in there and we'll get to them. GM DeBren, Max, and the boys. What is up, Jeremy? How's it going, brother? I love the congrats on the new series too that you got gifted. That's amazing, bro. We'll go and get to more questions. Memes overall. Somebody asked about Spotify. I'll go ahead and look that for you, brother. Out here, but can you guys still hear me? I hope you can still hear me. It kind of
Yeah, you're good. What's
okay.
up?
It froze out for a second. But yeah, memes overall right now. Before I get to Spotify, I think again the memes that have been through this before, the Giga SPX Mogs, these strong cult-like communities that you still see on the timeline despite price going down, are going to go to new all-time highs, just like we saw in 2024. Again, these are just a select few that I really have conviction in. Giga SPX Mog, ticker Bitcoin FWOG. I think you can buy any of these, wait a few months and be up a lot. Again, notice right now how people are just avoiding these things. They don't want anything to do with it. They're waiting until things are certain. But like we showed you in that clip before, things are never going to be fucking certain. By the time it's certain, there's no fucking upside to be had. So, for me, as far as memes go, I'm just buying these same 4 or 5 of them, and just, holding for much higher targets. As far as Spotify goes, I'll go ahead and check that out for you. I don't know anything about this one. Again, this has been out since January, down a lot from the all-time high. Honestly, bro, chart-wise, it doesn't look like a straight, like it's fucked. Like it is, I do like it has been consolidating for almost 2 months. That's what you want to be seeing before a bottom. But I believe this is like an AI coin that's brand new. I don't know anything about the community, fundamentals, any of that. So I really can't give you anything else than I think this consolidation that it's given us for the last 2 months is positive and is something you want to see if something is going to go back to all-time highs or make a move up. But I can't really tell you too much other than that. If you do get anything, I would encourage you to take profits on the way up. And I do hope this recovers for you. Let's see, is Brent still okay? Yeah, that was earlier. Historically, when Bitcoin appreciates, investors sometimes sell NFTs to capitalize on the crypto gains. According to the current 91K Bitcoin surge, will it lead to an NFT dip? To me, I think what we're going to see with the NFTs, so much momentum in NFTs in general that the top project is higher, despite despite ETH going up. I think a lot of these NFTs are also going to go up in ETH. Again, just because of so much momentum, so much low expectations for NFTs. When people start to realize, oh shit, NFTs are starting to boom again, I think there's going to be a lot of FOMO, which is going to push, again, those top projects higher, even if ETH goes up. But again, that's just a guess. I'm just investing in buying these strong IP projects with good operators, and we'll see what happens. Bren, what do you think about Jail Stool revival in the next bowl? Dave is a huge catalyst. Yeah, honestly, man, I think that Dave Portnoy, is kind of a wild card and not something that I'd build a strategy around whatsoever. I think a lot of that is just hype and it's just straight gambling, man. Either not only is it gambling, but no offense to Dave, like whatever, maybe what he's doing is legal, but you're setting yourself up to have a less than 50% chance when everybody's fucking doing that and he has wallets he can just dump on you. I think it's kind of a fool's game. It's like the equivalent of if you want to fucking you know, you want to rush or an adrenaline rush, bro, like I think there's better ways of doing it personally.
Yeah, my 2 cents worth is complete asinine activity.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just asking to have him take your money. Why don't you just fucking mail it to him?
Yeah, exactly, brother. You can get his PO box, mail that
Yeah,
shit.
just get his address, send him some money.
Hell yeah. Bren, what NFTs are you watching closely? Yeah, I actually want to get into NFTs real quickly. But you still with us, brother? Either way, you can hop back in. But I do want to. Humbled Wine says, haha, Max. Yeah. What's up, Miss D? Good to see you. She changed her name to Miss D is Bullish. Love to see that. All right, let's go ahead and pull up Magic Eden really quickly. I think I'm already sharing it, right? Yeah. So, Rotes, if you can hear me, you can hop in whenever. But NFTs, the last few weeks in general, have been getting a little bit more life. You have Good Vibes Club, Pudgies, and all that. But really, it's been VFriends that have kind of stole the show. The last few weeks, Gary, the last week or so, he's been giving away a lot of the Series 2s. Not only just giving away the ones he has, but buying them off the floor and onboarding a lot of people who have been in NFTs for a while, but have kind of been looking for a new community where a lot of these projects died or just not doing much lately. He's really been playing on that and just been very, very adamant and talking about how, not only is he going to build VFriends into an IP for like the rest of his life, but that, he said direct quote the other night on stream that this is an NFT project. Like, don't get it twisted by like the physical products and all that. What's most important is driving value back to the NFTs, and that the NFTs are the digital, the top collectible. And I think that's wise because not only is obviously it's the rookie card or the first collectible, but I think what people are going to start to realize is that the NFT holders, this core community of people who kind of have a financial incentive for its success, are going to actually drive the brand. It's what going to be the biggest promoters, the biggest billboard, and all that. So it's great to see. I think VFriends Series 2 last maybe a couple weeks ago was at like 0.6, something like that, 0.08. So moving up now, it's not just been the Series 1s. To me, I think not only are we going to see VFriends move up here, but seeing a lot of signs of a lot of these older projects, Bored Ape Yacht Club, CryptoPunks, obviously, Azuki even, where a lot of these whales are buying the rare collectibles and really starting to buy, which just like in Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, a lot of these things, you see a lot of the big, strong hands start to accumulate and gobble up a lot. So I don't know what's going to start it. I don't know if it's going to be something with the digital asset clarity, like some kind of bill that comes out. I don't know if it's going to be some type of game integration or just the momentum spillover. but I do think that we are going to see an NFT bull market that very likely probably stronger than 2021. That's how it was with crypto. Again, just playing on this whole theme that digital assets, including NFTs, are going to become a commonplace and a huge part of our world. Making, like Max said a few weeks ago, owning an NFT, a very important common thing. So, Roach,
Yeah,
you're not
Brent,
okay.
I'm here. Yeah, I think one of the more interesting parts, and we talked about it a couple of times now, but NFT prices in terms of ETH down a bit, not much, maybe roughly 10% across blue chip indexes at least, and yeah, 7%. And when it comes to the USD value, down 42%. So we're getting this nice discount period. And if you believe that markets are in this bit of a rebound beyond Bitcoin, this is a really nice entry across the board. Look for those established collections. VFriend's definitely one that works. Brent's Conviction, but a lot of the ones on the top volume lists are good gets, and you're getting at a decent discount when it comes to USD value. And you don't have to enter on the larger collection with most of these. It has secondary collections that you can get in and get a smaller share, get a feel for the community, if you choose that way as well.
Why, Bren, what do you think Sprotos fell off the list for? I think it's just taking its time.
Yeah, I think it's the meme coins came down so hard, obviously. To me, and they just follow the coins.
Yeah.
To me, I think what's going to end up happening is that meme coin NFTs are going to be a huge narrative, mostly because of this NFT bull that I think is coming, plus meme coins making a resurgence. Those two worlds coming together just makes a lot of sense for me, especially when we have Sproto Gremlins, Aeons that are down a lot, but have 1+ year, like 1 to 2 years, I think 18 months in the game with this supply distribution that's kind of been distributed over time. To me, I think whether it's right off the bat or it takes a little bit, maybe in the 2026, whatever, that meme coin NFTs will be a strong narrative. Also, because a lot of these communities want a tokenized version to kind of represent their community. I think it just makes sense. So, yeah, to answer your question, I think Sprotos came down, obviously because Bitcoin itself came down, but I think that we'll see the inverse of that when it turns around.
Sure.
That's a great question, though. Yeah, no, you're right, though. The Sprotos, what are they at? 0.82. They came up a little bit, but
And a lot of this more recent move here is kind of a slow move too.
yeah,
You look over the last week for these collections, you get like 5% maybe, maybe a little higher on some collections. But if you expand out just to like the 30-day, you're seeing like 15, 20, 25% moves on some of these collections as well. So this move has kind of been it's been really slow in building. But like I said, USD value, it's mispriced across the board. So there are some interesting opportunities beyond that. But yeah, you're right. Meme coin NFTs have taken a bit of a beating, just lack of attention to meme coins in general. Right. So that's the challenge point there. You have to watch for meme coins to rebound, and we've seen that in the last few days here. So if that trend continues, then you may look at an early get on some of the meme coin communities.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, if you're on crypto Twitter, you've seen Sprotos like all over the timeline. A lot of the biggest accounts have had Sprotos for a long time. It's one of the most like cult like community, but also like a very serious, like positive, optimistic group of people. And that's why I think ticker Bitcoin, when memes, it's kind of the same thing. Just like how if the overall market goes up, the top 10 is going to go up in the alts. I think if memes recover, ticker Bitcoin having the strong, everything we've talked about is gonna be a factor. So yeah, I expect ticker, Sprotos, all that. I'm probably gonna pick up a few at this level, but yeah, I think these things do have a run at some time. Aeons and Sproto Gremlins, I would say probably the top two communities, and probably do the best. Again, one more thing too about these NFTs and why they will do well. I think these collections is they only like they're 3,000 supply collection, whereas the VFriends, the Pudgies, the Bored Apes, they're all 10K collections, right? So lower supply, and I'm sure that will likely contribute to to how strong they move up at some point. Let's see what else. You said Good Vibes Club moved this week, made her a little bit of a resurgence.
Yeah,
Interesting. I
it's a
think what's
good.
interesting to see here, sorry to interrupt you, is that it's interesting to see a project that, obviously came down after mint, consolidate for a bit, and
Yeah.
head back up. I think that's great.
What's the duration on that
It started on
from mint
March
date or from the first kind of dip post rally there?
March 12th. Oh, like right here,
Yeah.
March like 19th, something like that.
Yeah.
Been
Roughly a
about a
month.
month. Yeah, I think this is an
So,
important sign. If we see projects, kind of come down like this hard, consolidate, and then head back up, I think that's, a good sign of market, health. What do you think, Brooks?
yeah, I agree. We've seen this trend
What about the
with
Farcoin NFTs?
new projects. Yeah, actually, that's a good one to look. With new projects it's typically about a 3 week window, and then they see this like return rally. So post reveal, that is. So this is a little further out, but it's this type of breakout afterwards is always a really strong sign for a collection. Otherwise, the chart just continues to fade.
Yeah,
So that bounce, that's the mark of the buy that's happened over the last few days.
absolutely.
Now that you're at an all-time high, it's a little riskier, but still really good to see them where they're at.
I'm glad you brought this up, Danksy, because I was not thinking about this at all. The FART NFTs barely moved a little bit, but I still think, again, it's going to be a lot of like the NFTs themselves doing well, the NFT market itself doing well, kind of exploding a lot of these meme NFTs. But that's kind of interesting. I would think it would probably have moved up a little bit more than this with the move
Um,
for coin.
that's an interesting one.
Yeah. I remember you said you like these.
Yeah, these are gas.
These are literally gas. Um, Interesting. I'm kind of neglecting the chat. Let's see if there's anything. Not much. V Friends is unbelievably epic. Yeah, my boy Jeremy here freaking has 2 Series 2s now. Congrats, dude. The NFT season is coming. Yeah, I think so, man. If the market flips, NFTs will pump as well, right? You're talking about the crypto market. I think crypto market and NFTs are two kind of separate markets, as we've seen with two different cycles. But with that being said, I do think in this next 6 months to a year that we have a digital asset type super cycle with both of them running at the same time.
NFTs are further along the risk curve. So when crypto market gains slow down, that's when NFTs actually get their biggest grab. So you don't necessarily see them in tandem. I think if Ethereum starts to rally and rebound, you will see some movement in NFTs as confidence for Ethereum, etc. But the actual NFT move will happen once everything's really kind of towards the end of the bull, right? So
See,
we
that's
have a
possible.
bit of ways to go.
That's possible. I could also see it though. They just run together with so much, the everything kind of just around so much hype and so much everything just around digital assets and all that. But we'll see. Justin asks, so Bren, you think VFriends will lead the next NFT wave? Yeah, not only do I think they're going to lead, kind of already are, but my base case, I really do think because of the power of Gary Vaynerchuk as an operator, the community, and just the IP itself, the positive traits and everything, that VFriends are going to be the second. I think they're going to go 1, 2. I think they're going to go in the top 3, probably second to Punks. Again, the ability, we're just seeing it right now, the ability that Gary has to not just bring people into NFTs, get them interested, but directly onboard people from inside and outside of NFTs directly into the project, not needing a toy to get into Walmart to bring people in, whatever, like directly to the people, I think is unmatched. And once we start to see digital collectibles become very important with NFTs, I think, we're really going to see that play out. Not to mention that we've already seen Azuki, Bored Apes, everybody else already release a coin and do a lot of these things where VFriends has a lot of bullets in the chamber, I think, to really make an impact. So super bullish on the next few months. I think a coin and a lot of other cool stuff are coming, and super bullish long term. I think we're going to see VFriends. It sounds crazy to a lot of people, and people call me an idiot, but I think VFriends is going to flip Pudgy as Azuki. Zuki, we're pretty close, but Pudgy, Suzuki, all that. So again, bet on good operators, bet on a great IP, and I think that's all that's going to matter long term. So NFTs, yes, Soul NFTs. Only Soul NFTs I really have too much of is my PFP, which we haven't talked about, the pond, which has also come down a bit, or a good amount. I do think my base case around that real quickly is just that Flog will be a long-term meme coin, and we'll have a nice resurgence here, kind of like the Sprotos. Once that Flog goes back to all-time highs, meme coin NFTs are doing well. That this Flog, the Pond collection, will be one of the more important ones. So yeah, I'm holding on to my PFP. I still think these are going to be valuable someday. Who knows that, or like important someday. I'm in the meme coin NFT thing, but we'll see how that plays out. Any latest NFT you keeping an eye on? Really, man, not really any new releases. Like we saw that Good Vibes Club's doing well, but I think VFriends Series 2, if you're looking for a low entry to a NFT project. What about Pudgy Penguins? I think Pudgy Penguins are going to do very well too. Again, same kind of thing. Great IP. The Pudgy Penguins are cute and everything, but what matters is that Luca Nets is a great operator. He's shown that he can get the toys in Walmart. He's a very positive, charismatic guy. I think I think they're going to do very well. I think the top 5 to 10 IP projects, like I'm talking about, Pudgy's, VFriends, all that, are going to do well. But Pudgy's being one of them. Your favorite NFT sector? I think the most surefire bets again are the few ones that have stuck around with great operators behind them with proven business experience. And then Pengu as well. We were talking about that. I do think the coin Pengu, for the same kind of reason, will do well over time because of the operator's ability to, form partnerships and a lot of other stuff. So we're already starting to see it move up a bit today. I think 22%, which is good to see. I think you said you were buying a bit of Pengu last week, right? Right, Max?
Yeah, I bought 3 days last week and yesterday.
Beautiful. How about PFP NFTs? Yeah, I mean, some of them, like I said, Pudgies, Bored Apes, the ones with great operators, I think will still do well. Not so much on the PFP ability, but again, who's operating the project is what matters. But yeah, we're coming up on 2:30 here. Let's see. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Let's go ahead and look at. Let's see. Yeah, Bitcoin's still moving up. Leave your guys' questions, comments. If NFT is safer to hold than crypto. No, it's definitely not safer. I would say has a whole different thing around it where it's less liquid. It's just a whole different game. It's definitely different than crypto, but I think a lot of the great projects are going to do well. Have a great rest of your day, lads. Got to go. Yeah, later, Jeremy. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you too, Philip. Let me see. Anything else on your mind, Max, that we had missed?
I just think people have to realize we've kind of shared with them exactly what's unfolded, except we're doing it a week or two in advance. I think the biggest thing we've ever seen is getting ready to happen, and when people hear that, they shouldn't try to then immediately say, when is that? They should just sit back and try very hard to wait. I'm going to tell you about a story real quick. I was at an interview with Maria Bartiromo and Warren Buffett. There were 3 of us on the panel. And I may have told this before, but I'm going to tell it again because it's timely. Maria asked a question about something having to do with the Fed, and Warren said, or Mr. Buffett said, Maria, we don't really pay attention to what the Fed is doing. We just buy good companies and then we wait. And she said, well, come on, Warren, the Fed's meeting this week, and obviously they're going to do something to interest rates. What do you think about that? And Mr. Buffett said, well, Maria, we don't really pay a lot of attention to interest rates. We just buy good companies and then we wait. And you could tell Maria was getting a little frustrated because, media types want abrasive answers. They want answers that cause friction because that causes attention, which causes viewership. So she kept pushing. She said, look, Mr. Buffett, with all due respect, obviously the Fed is going to meet. They're going to do something on interest rates, and that's going to cause something in the market. What do you think about that? And he said, Maria, we don't really pay attention to the markets. We just buy good companies and we wait. So think about that. One of the richest guys on the planet tells you 3 different ways that the real money is made in waiting. And that's the tough part. That's why so few people get paid to wait. Why? Because they don't want to wait. They don't want to wait. They don't have the patience to wait. It's a tough word. It seems like this innocuous, unimportant word. But let me tell you something. It's the most important word in investing. You got to know how to wait.
Yep, like you said, that's the price we pay for the gains, the sacrifice. Beautifully said, Max. Like always, again, definitely give Max a follow on Twitter. We're going to expand this not only this message but this group, Team 6 Crypto, to the entire world. Again, everybody's going to enter crypto and be using crypto in some type of way. So if you're along with us on the journey early on, we appreciate you. A lot more streams coming. Not only that, but a lot more cool things we have planned. So we always appreciate you guys being on. 1,000 people on throughout this stream. We're at a time where a lot of people have checked out. If you're here right now, consider yourself a pioneer, not just crypto, but somebody who cares about your future. And we appreciate you for staying along with us. Somebody says, Max, being a Christian, must know the law of sowing and reaping. Patience is a must.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, the real money is made by waiting. Thanks, Max. I don't miss your expos. Yeah, Max has got a lot of cult fans already. I'm trying to tell him. I appreciate you guys for all being on, and the gang's just only going to keep growing. If you guys have any suggestions, we're going to have more guests on in the Memecoin world outside, a lot of cool people on. But if you have any other suggestions for the stream of what you'd like to see, anything, shout out to my boy Rojam. I don't know if he's here, but he always gives us some great feedback. Appreciate your guys' support. Always DM me. I'm going to go ahead and do the giveaway from the post here at the end of the stream. So look out for that. But if there's not anything else from here from our panelists, Danksy, you got anything before we leave, brother? I don't know if he's still with us, but either way.
Buy the dip. Look at Sui today, 12%.
What do you say? What?
Look at Sui today, 12%.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sui.
Yes, sir. Shout out to y'all. Okay, yeah, I got you, Drago. But yeah, with that being said, we'll be back on Friday at 10 a.m. PST for another one. With that, stay patient, guys. Really, we're just getting started. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, take care, guys.
Bye.